upload these onto YouTube so we can reference them for future reference. So basically the way this works, for anybody that's new, it's a show and tell type session of recent mushroom finds. Tonight's subject matter is just recent finds, member finds, which is what we probably will be doing all summer. So we're just taking turns showing off what we have found in the past week or two in the greater New Jersey region. I say greater New Jersey region because some of us, like myself, are in Pennsylvania, and I know we have some people from New York and whatnot, but we're all kind of centrally located in the mid-Atlantic area. And we try to limit ourselves to about 5 mushrooms, 5 to 10 minutes per person in order to share the time with everyone. Only 15 people tonight, so looks like we'll probably have plenty of time. And I got emails from 3 or 4 people. So if you want to, you can always email me your observations and I can share them from my screen, or you can also share them from your screen, whichever you prefer. So with all that, we can get started. Is there anybody? Oh, I'm sorry. We do keep a queue going too, just to get in order. So if there's people who want to share to start out, go ahead and put your name in the chat, the little box in the lower, right in the middle. Throw your name in there. Is anybody that wants to start? Okay, I'll jump right in and share my screen and start with the people who have emailed me. All right, you guys can still see my my emails. Thumbs up if anybody can. All right, so looks like, let's see, it looks like Marisol. No, I'm sorry, Sue was the first person to email me. So you get to go first, Sue.
Sure, because that wasn't too long ago.
No, it's been kind of a quiet week.
Well, I had a mushroom walk today with about 15 people. So the rain has been quite good here the last week. It rained all day Friday. And so we've had very wet conditions, more or less. So there's been quite a lot of mushrooms that came up, but I couldn't photograph them. And also, if you do it quickly, it's not a good photograph. And I don't particularly like to share it unless it's fairly decent. So anyway, I've been calling this Amanita brunescens. It's the first of the season for this one here for me. It's not an uncommon mushroom up here. Usually comes in quite a few of them at a time, and they'll be out for maybe a week or so, and then maybe not see them again, maybe until fall or so. The identification, even with this no spores and this not being opened out, is down at the base. You can see it's got a wedge, a cleft foot, a cleft base. It looks like somebody cut a wedge out of the bottom. So I would call this Amanita brunescens. It can be anywhere from this kind of pale color right through a dark brown, but this one's fairly typical of what it looks like around here. Okay, the next one, I forget what I sent you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Artemisia pyxidata. This was one I took today, and it should have been sharper, better light. But again, I was kind of, I wanted to pick this to be able to take it with me, sort of. But anyway, it's got all of those little tiny points at the top of the little branches where the spores really form. So that, and the way it sort of reaches up with those little fingers is one of the identifying characters, and being on wood. I don't remember that I looked at the wood very carefully. Is that what you guys would say is Artemisia pyxidata? I don't see it often here, but I would say yes.
Yeah, I would too. It has a lot to do with the pattern, the way they're branching.
Right. Well, was that you, Igor?
Igor,
Yes.
Igor agreed, yeah.
Yeah,
Remember, the old name for this thing is clavicorona, and corona means crown.
right, yeah,
So these little tentacles resemble, the pointy things on the king's crown.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, yeah, I wish it was a better picture and there was more coming on that log, so I may try and go take a picture of it again, only because I haven't got a really good picture of this. That usually is on a different camera, I can get a better picture. But anyway, it was fun to find that because with the group, I could show them a lot of variety of different kinds of things. For somebody's question, I'm in the Adirondacks, and this was at the Paul Smith Vic where I was, Visitor Interpretive Center, owned by the college. Okay, so the next one was,
Although I will add to that, though, this is something you will commonly see here in New Jersey as well.
yeah, right. It's undoubtedly some kind of deciduous wood, but I forgot to really look at the wood because we were sort of on the tail end of this walk and I didn't want to keep people forever. Now, this is what I call Boletus subvolutipes. This is fairly common when the weather is right and it tends to come out in bunches or all in a lot of different places. But it's one of the red-mouthed pores, boletes, and it's you even look at it and it turns that indigo blue. It's very, very quick to turn blue. And these were young enough that they, even though the slugs had attacked them right out of the ground, you can see that center one, the youngest one, the slugs had already started to feed on it. But it's an incredibly beautiful mushroom in all stages. Just so interesting with the color.
What's the name, Susan?
Well, I'm calling it Boletus subvolutipes. Igor, is that close?
Oh,
Yes, I agree with you, Susan. Boletus subvolutipes, which actually is in the genus Neoboletus, because it is a red-port bolete, grows only with hemlocks and conifers sometimes,
Yeah, that sounds
spruces,
right.
and so forth. In New Jersey, if you want to see this bolete, you have to drive all the way to the upstate New Jersey, like northern New Jersey, Sussex County, Warren County, because that's where the hemlock is. If you are in middle Jersey or south, that you will never find it.
Okay, it's actually fairly common up here when the weather is warm and wet.
Yes, it's more of a boreal taxon. It grows, I think, as far south as eastern Pennsylvania, and that's about it. It doesn't go below the Mason-Dixon line.
Uh-huh, okay. I like it because it's such beautiful color combinations.
somebody's asking if it is edible.
I'm sorry, didn't understand.
Somebody is asking if it is edible.
Somebody else want to comment about that? I don't eat it, but then I'm
I
not.
don't know.
Well, here's the thing. All these red-port boletes from the genus Neoboletus have been deemed inedible or poisonous, but they're probably edible. And this is what people find in Europe, especially if you parboil them. They'll probably be okay.
Keep this door cracked until somebody needs to come in the house. All right, because otherwise he's going to be a mess.
Please mute yourself if you're not talking. So I haven't tried any red-port boletes, but I probably will. I'm really tempted to do this. I don't think these guys are poisonous.
Yeah, as I remember, Ursula Pohl used to eat these sorts of things, but then she kind of, ate any kind of a bolete.
I think Dave Vasilevsky ate subvolutipes before, he just cooked it and he ate a small bolete and he was fine.
Yeah,
So
it's probably one of the ones that depends on your system, your own digestive system.
exactly, something which is edible for me may not be edible for you. That's true.
Yeah. But it's a pretty mushroom. Too bad these are so ratty looking, but I knew what they were right away. Okay. And the last one I had, I know. The last one, Luke, you ought to appreciate these. And I was probably a day and a half too late because most of them, of which there was probably about 30, were buggy, very buggy. But I got a small bag that I'm going to cook up probably tomorrow or the next day. they don't tend to keep real well if they're fresh. Well, they do, and yet I like them fresh. Chanterelles. I'm calling it Siberius. I know that's wrong, but I don't have a better name for it. It's this probably with conifers. The nearest tree might be a white birch, but I don't think that is what it would be with. This is a mycorrhizal fungus for some of you who don't know, which means, especially in my case, these were not found where I had my mushroom walk, but a place that I've seen almost every year for the last 12 years or so. And they always come up in the same place. And it always astounds me that the people that use that trail, this is about 50 feet in on this trail, and nobody, well, there's a couple people who know that they're there if they know when to look, but I'm usually a little sharper about when to look. So anyway, it's a very choice edible. This is my second most favorite edible mushroom, which is not something that I am known for. Luke, you want to talk about how you cook them? Oh, he must be somewhere.
No, I'm just muted. It just took me a second to find the mute button. Well, I've only eaten them once so far this year, and I just sauteed them up, a little bit of oil and scallions, no garlic, and ate them with a steak. They were pretty good.
Yeah,
Somebody was wondering what variety of chanterelle this is, and I'm barely able to identify all the different varieties that we find in the Philadelphia region. I don't know what one is growing up there with the with conifer, you say.
and yet the leaves that are on the ground around it look like they might be one of the big tooth aspens. That is one of the hardwoods up here that's pretty common. But but you can see the pine needles from the big white pine that I know is right nearby. The one thing that's interesting to me is the chanterelles that I see here do have the very distinct ridged gills, so to speak, as opposed to in New Jersey, we used to find the smooth one, where you had no distinct ridges or blunt gill-like structures under the cap, which we used to call Cantharellus latericius by some of us climbers.
Yeah, and we still call it that, although I think we also know that there's a Cantharellus flavolaterius that grows around here. Supposedly, the only way that you can tell the difference is with DNA. But supposedly that's the more common one in Pennsylvania.
Right, right. And the thing with this is that these are looking a little pale because they're a little waterlogged. And like I said, I wish I had wanted to check 2 days ago or 3 days ago when I was scouting the trail for my walk, and I just didn't take the time to get over here, and I wish I had, because it was quite a big flush and most of them were completely eaten out in the stems by bugs. I have a tolerance for bugs, but not like this. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I was going to say there's two of them that I know that supposedly grow in Pennsylvania that have distinct ridges are Cantharellus volutinus and Cantharellus tenuithrix.
Oh, wow.
Either of those are kind of yellow. I think those are both Bart Buick names.
If you know how to spell that, I wouldn't mind seeing that. The story with this is that, isn't it that Cantharellus siberius is a European species, and some of our DNA guys have figured out that ours is not the same as the original Siberius, which I don't remember where that was described from. But so we have to, and there's a lot of varieties here, maybe growing with different, but they will come up in the same place every year if you get enough water, and they taste really good.
Yes, they are a really good edible.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll type those names in a second.
Yeah, no rush, because I know you're trying to juggle a lot of things with us.
As we discussed before, there are a couple of papers out there that have been published in the last 3 to 5 years that discuss the various species of golden chanterelles growing in the Northeast, and I think they're publicly available. You don't even have to ask people to send them to you. You just search chanterelle taxonomy or DNA and you'll find them.
Oh, all right, I might try and do that. Thank you, Igor.
Actually, I think, Susan, if you go into our new website, NJMA's website, I forget what page it is, but you'll find those papers attached there.
Yeah, I tried to look at that when I saw that email, but I didn't, if there's a way to access some of the other information, I didn't see it.
You will be able to access it because if you read that email carefully, it says that instructions will be sent to
Yeah,
everyone.
that's what yeah, that you have to, some of that might be the members only and we have to be invited and accept and whatever, which I'll keep an eye out for that. But yeah.
Right.
Can somebody send me an email, because I tried to go in to show some photos to my daughter and I couldn't. I need a password and I have no clue.
Yeah, but I don't think they've done that yet.
So nobody can access it. Yeah.
No, not at this time. No.
Oh, okay.
You will get an invite
Okay. Okay.
through the email, and the only thing you need to do is to create a password, and that's it. It's going to be very simple.
Oh, okay.
Because your login ID is going to be your email address.
But you'll need a separate password that you make up yourself?
Yes, you will need your own password. Correct.
Okay, okay, okay. I can deal with that, I guess.
So don't lose it.
Right.
All right, well, thanks, Sue.
Yep.
Okay, Marisol, let's see what you got.
Let me fix myself here. Gotta make this bigger. Full screen. All right, ready. Okay, photo is terrible because this piece of poop is way too tiny, so I don't have a camera that will reveal the details. So I found a second species of Pilobolus, and when I brought it home, I have like 3 or 4 days with this piece of feces in a little container with water, so it's developing 4 different things on it. So one of these is Trichobolus, which I made the magenta arrows there to show you. Is way too tiny. It's like 0.5 millimeter big. Yeah, they're a little darker than the other ones, which are Coprinellus. And the ones on the left, lower left, is the Pilobolus that I don't know the species yet. I don't know. There are several species, so I don't know. So this is I don't know what's the order. I really don't know. The name is, what did I say? Trichobolus. So I found it with another name for a fungus that is like a cannonball. But the difference with this one that I found is this one has hairs. The other ones that shot this like a sack of spores don't have the hairs. So that's how I found it. Then I ended finding information through Adolf Seska. So I identified to the species. I did some micro on it. It's a, oh no, that's the feces with the, yeah, pretty bad photo, but okay. So, and I was very surprised because it's one ascus only. I didn't understand the structure when I put it on the microscope because I didn't know what it was. So on the right, you see these globose structures that made up the ball. I don't have the right names. And there is only one ascus full of many spores. I don't know how many. It's way too many. Yeah. So when I pushed the slide, this ascus came out of the outside cover. Those are the spores, very like regular in shape and size, kind of. And you cannot really see it. It's covered with the feces there, but it's a ball with this hair. Can you pass? And when I was looking for the species, I found out that there is a difference with other species based on the presence of septa on the hairs. So this is called setae or hairs, and septa are some divisions inside the hairs. I got some photos for that. Can you pass? So that's the septa, setae with septa and one spore at the bottom. And the whorls are very thick. That's the root of the setae. It's not like several parts, it's just like one wider base. And what and this is what makes up the sphere that holds that one ASCO inside. And I have, every day I look at them, at this little thing that I have under a glass, and I see how they grow. So within some time, the sphere clears the physics, and the ascus comes out. It's so beautiful. And I took these photos from some other people to show you what it really is. So the white thing is the ascus getting rid of the first cover. And you can see the hairs. This is from somebody from Netherlands. One more photo. Oh, this is one from Spain. And you can see what I was showing to you, the one ascus, the shape of the spores, the septa on the hairs. That's good.
What kind of poop was it on?
Deer.
Oh, it was deer poop. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty small. Okay.
Mhm. I made the photo's pretty bad. Sorry for that. I couldn't help it. And I made another observation like 2 weeks ago of the same thing, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I call it Dacrymyces. What's the name of this type?
Elegans?
No.
Dacrymyces elegans?
No elegans. No, that's Dacryopinax. No,
Gosh.
Dacrymyces
Spathulus.
capitatus, but it's not, because you can see even with this bad photo that the head looks different from the stipe. So the head, I look very carefully, the head is convoluted. It almost has these ridges and parts going in and out like a morel, on a morel. And the stipe has a different aspect. So I did the micro, but the micro is so close to Dacrymyces capitatus, but the difference is outside the morphological aspect of it. So the same thing, it has basidia with 2 sterigmata. It has spores with 1 septa. Oh, this is the basidia are born in a fuzzy hypha. You can't see it too good in there, but I have another photo. So it looks like a flower. A bunch of the basidia are coming from this, are branching from 1 hypha. Pass, please. More basidia. That's the fuzzy hypha where they is underneath the basidia layer. It's pretty small. It's like 1 centimeter tall. Oh yeah, and this photo was very strange. It's like what it makes the flesh of the head. I didn't do micro of this type, only the head. So it's hypha that is all mingled, going in different directions. And I noticed few times this kind of anastomosis is how the hypha connects. So there were four hypha parts connected.
So these must be pretty closely related to Dacrymyces, huh?
Yeah, because they have the same kind of basidia.
Or that's what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty distinct.
Ditiola.
So for anybody, what we're saying is they have like, they call them a tuning fork basidia. So this is where the spores come off of. The spores are formed right there. And most mushrooms, not all of them, most of them are a little more robust with 4 points. These things are very distinct with only 2.
One spore. I couldn't get good photos of the spores. Oh, you can vaguely see the septa in both. It's a line in the kind of in the middle. And it has a prominent apiculus. Apiculus is the tip where the spore was attached to the exterigmata. And oh yeah, I forgot to say there were this group of mushroom fungi. They develop secondary spores. They behave very weird. The one underneath, the one with the droplets, is forming a secondary spore.
All right, that's it on those pictures.
Ditiola radicata.
That was pretty cool.
Oh, this is my second. I couldn't get better micro. I couldn't do it. I tried a few times. The photo is pretty bad, but you can see those white little things sticking up. That is the pilobulus. It's some globose structures with a black head, but you can do better than that. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, puppy was full of them. Those are the spores. The ones that I found before, the spores were brown and yellow. These ones are different. I don't know how to call this shape. Elliptical? I don't know. And that's the sporangium, which is the head that is at the top of this globose structure and is shot into the air to go to a find a surface to spread the spores. Few more spores. And this is an empty sporangium. I pressed this light so hard that I made it empty all the spores.
So full, empty.
It's folded a little bit, of course.
Yep, this is it.
Photo's pretty bad in this one too, but I only wanted to show it because I found it on Sunday and I wasn't even looking for it. I went down to look for some Silaria when I saw this little super tiny star. It's like 1 millimeter or maybe 2 millimeters big on mulch. And I brought it home because the one on the top, right, it didn't eject the sport sac yet. And so I brought it home, but when I came home, it did it in the envelope. So I couldn't show you the spores because I couldn't find the little ball. It exploded and sent them away. So when it shoots the sports bag, it ends inflated at the top. Oh, I can't explain that. It's some kind of mechanical movement there. When it shoots them like a rubber piece underneath the sporangium, the ball pushes the ball into the air, and then that piece that pushes stays out, inflated like a big belly. That's another way to say it. It's like a transparent belly. It's so beautiful. And they call it stellata because it forms like a star when it breaks to show the spore sac when the outside cover breaks.
John Dawson has a fabulous picture of this.
I think that I have another photo from somebody else to show better information, maybe.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, only one photo? Oh, geez.
Yep,
Okay.
just the one.
Okay.
Maricel,
Yeah.
is that what they call torpedo fungus? That's when you have mulch along the side of your house?
Yes.
It's
Uh-huh.
the black
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
on your house. Yeah.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. On your car.
On
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
car.
On the wall, on your vinyl. Yeah. Oh, I put on, no, I think, can you scroll down a little bit on the comments? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, can you go on the comments? That's what I thought I put some more information so we can see better. No, under the photo, below the photo, on the blue. The
Yeah, right
blue
there.
of the, yes, yeah.
That's just a link to Messiah.
We can do it?
Sure.
That's
Okay, yes.
yeah, Gary Emberger's site,
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania Club.
See, so on the second photo is what I was trying to tell you. The lower left is when the the sporangium was already shot. So it leaves this inflated shape.
Oh, that's John Dawson's picture.
Oh, it is. Hi,
Yeah.
Susan. Oh, he's here.
He's in our club.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves this little stuff. Yeah, and then that's
There
why
you
I
go.
thought
Oh, yes.
sticks, and it's hard to get the little stickies off.
Virginia, there it is. On the gutters and the vinyl. Yeah.
All right. All right, last one.
And last one is a crust. Some of the crust, the photo's pretty bad. Some of the crusts that I found are so like insignificant. It's like 2 inches long, but the beauty of it is what is inside. So this one has these humongous structures that stick out. It has kind of teeth. You can show the micro characters, please. It's pretty bad. No, those. It's some kind of wisteria there. But those are not the stars. The stars are these, which are called, this one is twisted, which is not the right usual form. It's called septocystidia because the exerted cystidia has divisions, but there is one more characteristic, and you can see it on this photo, it has clamps on the septa. Can you show that?
Right there.
No, below.
Oh, right there.
Right there. Yeah, right there. And one in the right, but not where you were pointing. No, right. Go to the right where the crystals start. Yes, right there. That's another septa. Yeah, I have better photos, but it's so beautiful. The spores are very long, very big. And in one of the teeth, there were like 6 of these tips, septocystidia. Oh, you can see the clamps. Can you show the 1, 2, 3, the third, above septocystidia, above the word septos? The clamp.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, right there. Because there are few other species that they don't have the clamp, so it's another name. Or I was reading some information that I found about them. There are 5 species up to today, and one is naked. They found it in China. So it belongs to this complex, but it doesn't have the crystals like these ones. Same idea. I think that some basidia there. Basidia was pretty long too, and there are clamps everywhere. A clamp is like a valve. How do you say the word valve?
Valve.
Valve is like a valve to transport nutrients from one cell to the other cell. So it has like a little hole where the passing of nutrients is measured. Yeah.
So right there is what she's talking about. One cell into the other.
Yeah. That's the basidia, pretty long. One is the lower one is younger, doesn't have the stigmata, and the other one has 2, but I wasn't sure that there were 4. I could not do better than that. And I put just that for information, the 5 species that. Oh, and the one that I found is cosmopolitan, so they found it worldwide.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Maricel.
You're so welcome.
All right. Looks like I'm next. All right. So these are 5. No, I think there are 4 from Philadelphia and 1 from the Poconos. Okay, this one, genus Metuloidea. So this is the one just until this week, I was calling this Stecherinum subrawakensi. See the name crossed out? Stecherinum subrawakensi. That's the name that we've always used for this. But Tom Bigelow told me that this week that all of these stecherinums that smell like cinnamon have been moved into Metuloidea. So this thing, if you look at it from above, it's kind of got like that turkey tail-like appearance. I actually thought it was a cerium when I saw it, a really fresh cerium from above. But when I flipped it over, I could see that it had all of these spines in it. And when I smelled it, it has this really intense smell of cinnamon.
Look, we
Yes.
found this one in Helmeta and we didn't look underneath and we were calling it Tramete Socracea. We were having a good laugh.
Yeah,
And when we look, oops, teeth.
yeah, when I was looking at it, I was standing about 6 or 8 feet above it. I was on a really steep hill and I thought they were ceriums. I was like, oh, look how fresh that cerium is. I want to see if it bleeds or anything. And I jumped down there and I flipped it over and saw the teeth. And then, of course, when you smell it, so they said, I think the Django Groupmeyer, he commented in a conversation we were having, he said that all of these, whether they're poroid or hydnoids, whether they have pores or teeth, if they smell like cinnamon, they've been moved into Metuloidea. And they're all either poroid or hydnoid. So yeah, that's what they look like from above.
Luke, how big are they? Are they a couple inches across or just 1 inch or?
2 inches, about the size of a turkey tail.
Okay, and are they kind of soft like a turkey tail, but not quite as thick because of the teeth?
They're actually a little thicker. They're on the thicker side.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what they look like. I've never seen them.
But they are soft and kind of corky. They're very pliable, like leathery.
Yeah, that's kind of what they look like they should be.
And they persist. So I will find these over the winter time. I remember finding these this past winter in January, not looking like this anymore, but still there, dried and gray.
Yeah, I bet they look quite a lot different.
But still with the smell. The smell is still there. That cinnamon smell does not go away. So this was on beech, decaying beech, yes?
So it is related to Metuloidea fragrans, yeah?
Yes, same genus.
We found it. We found few little babies in Crystal Lake. Oh, the smell was so good.
Oh, I love the smell.
Different people found, yeah, the smell was like soap and cinnamon. It was really good. But the Metuloidea fragrans has pores,
Right.
no teeth. Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yep. So yeah, Django, who knows this stuff pretty well. He said that Metuloidea can either be poroid or hydnoid, one or the other. So, Tom Bigelow also told me that they found something that looked just like this in Brooklyn a couple of weeks ago, and they sequenced it, and they can't find any matches for it. So they think it's probably undescribed. So I saved this one. I'll definitely gonna have this one sequenced. Okay. Any other questions on that one?
No, that's really cool. I've never seen that. All right, all right.
Cool. Thank you.
Very attractive too.
All right, this one's not so attractive. So I found these this was from the Poconos, like Lehigh, up around Allentown, above Allentown, Pennsylvania, in the Appalachian Mountains. So this is Cryphonectria parasitica, the chestnut blight. And they're little tiny. These things are about 1 millimeter across. It's these little orange masses. And I probably should have shown it from the other direction. There you go. So I saw that, which this is a chestnut tree sapling or a sucker coming out of the roots. So they're pretty common. When I would imagine in northern Jersey you would be able to find these when you get up into the mountains. And they're just the suckers that are still coming out of the living root systems. But as soon as they get a few feet tall, I've seen them as big as like 15, 20 feet tall tops. They develop this infection from this chestnut blight.
What's the name?
Cryptonectria parasitica. So to backtrack, I'm not explaining this correctly. So 100 years ago, chestnuts were a huge part of the forest, you know, the Appalachian forests all up and down the East Coast. And this particular fungus was imported, I think, from China on ornamental trees that were coming in from China. I think it was on ornamentals, another type of chestnut, and quickly jumped over to our chestnuts. And it doesn't seem to bother the Chinese chestnuts. They evolved with it. But here in North America, within a few decades, it had practically exterminated all the chestnuts up and down the East Coast, or the Eastern United States, to the huge detriment to our wildlife, because it was a major part of our forest. But the roots are still alive in the ground. It only kills the upper parts of the tree. So the roots periodically continue sending up suckers, you know, like trying to regrow. And as soon as these plants are just a couple of years old, they succumb to this infection. So if you find chestnut trees, the young chestnut trees, if you investigate them, you can often find these fruiting bodies. So that's what they look like. And you can see how this was at the base, kind of like where the roots are, and you can see how destroyed this wood all is. So
Look,
yes.
there is something that looks very similar. It's called Endotia girosa.
Yeah.
It looks like yours.
It could be. I didn't do any microscopy on this. I just going on the host, the fact that this is a chestnut tree that's being killed, and this is, you know, this is the known destroyer of chestnut trees.
Okay.
Unfortunately, all my microscopy stuff is packed right now, so I can't do anything with that. So, okay. So my next one, Trichaptum biforme. I just wanted to show this. This is, you know, one of the most common mushrooms out there in the woods. Trichaptum, polypore, the tooth polypore. I don't know what they call it. And usually we see it year round, but it's usually kind of gray and dingy. But this one was so pretty. They're so pretty when they're growing. These pictures don't really quite do it justice, but they are so purple. Here's the pore surface from underside. So as you can see, it's quickly degrading. The pores are quickly degrading already into this toothy stuff. But it's such a beautiful lavender color. There's another.
My trichaptums up here are coming out often on a second, last year's fruiting body with the very purple growing edge and underneath. Yeah, that's really cool to see that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the prettiest colors out there. I'm kind of partial to purple myself. And it doesn't last very long, right? Then a couple of weeks they're kind of turning white. And then they just hang there all year long. White and gray.
Yeah, they can even hang around for several years on the tree, develop a mossy kind of surface on top, you know, an actual green moss that grows, moss or algae, I forget which, but they will sometimes fruit out again on the same fruiting bodies. And we're only talking an inch or two. Biggest I've ever seen is about 3 inches across. It's a neat little, I keep telling my people on walks, major wood rotting fungi, this.
Yeah, I mean, here in the greater Philadelphia area, it's probably one of the most common wood decayers. I mean, if you spot a mushroom growing on a tree, like a big shelving thing, you know, you have a really good chance of it being this. All right, here we go. Cantharellus volutinus. So John Plischke gave me the name for this one last year during one of our Taxonomy Tuesday sessions. This is one of those ones that we would call Cantharellus cibarius, right? So super, you know, lots of ridges on it. And I find this growing right outside of Philadelphia along the Pennypack Creek. And I've been looking at it for years. It's one of the first ones to always come up. I can often find 3 species of chanterelles all growing within like 50 yards of each other down there. I find the smooth ones and then also the cinnabar chanterelles there. But this one is always, they're small. They're never any more than 2 inches across the top. And they're very rigid on the underside. And they often have like a kind of pinkish tone to them. If you look at here, kind of an apricot-y pinkish color to them. And they stain. If you look at the stipe here, the orange color is from me handling them. So that kind of white bloomy stuff is staining.
Is that color true? That very orangey yellow?
Yeah, yep, they're pretty bright like that.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, on the underside, they're kind of a pinkish color.
Yeah. Well, that's usually the case for a chanterelle, but the ones I see up here are never that orange.
Well, and this one too, volutinous, they say that there's two color forms to them. There's some that are just orange underneath, and then there's some that are really pink underneath. This one it's kind of in the middle, but it's definitely got that pinkish color to it. There you go. You can see this was the biggest one of the bunch. And they're just as edible as all the other ones. I've been eating them. Now I have saved some of these for sequencing. Unfortunately, Fundus that we were participating in was not accepting chanterelle submissions, or I would have sent it to them. But I'm hanging on to it.
Maybe they've had too many requests for the chanterelle name.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the reason. They don't have primers for these things.
Primers.
They require special primers for sequencing, and they're difficult.
Uh-huh. It's good to know.
So, like I said, I struggled for years never having an appropriate name for this, but John Plischke took one look at it and said volutinous, and then I started looking into that name, and it seems to match pretty good. And I have done microscopy on it. The microscopy all kind of fits for that name. So we have left it at that. Oh, somebody asked me the area of Philly. So these are kind of like from the northeast part of Philadelphia, Pennypack Creek. Okay, and then my last one. Mycetinus opacus. Supposedly, that's somebody gave me that name. And I looked at it on Mushroom Expert. So there are these little things. They used to be in a marasmus, and they were just this past weekend in Philadelphia. Like I was walking on them. There's thousands of them everywhere. So these grow out of wood. I did read that they said they'll grow out of leaf litter too, but everyone that I saw was growing out of pieces of wood. So they have a pretty uniform looking stipe, a little bit textured, and the capsule is kind of white. And then the gills, these widely spaced gills. One of the things about them are these rhizomorph things that, oops, supposed to be a feature. The rhizomorphs in the wood, all those white hair things sticking out of the wood all over the place.
I found them on Sunday. There were hundreds and hundreds on sticks.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I was just crushing them. I couldn't help it. It was basically like walking through leaf litter. They were just everywhere.
Yep.
So.
I think I saw something like that today. I would have called it marasmus too, but
Mycetinus opacus. That's a name that was being thrown around. So the Philadelphia Mycology Club, they have a Facebook group that's pretty active, and so being in Philadelphia, it's a good resource to see what's growing locally. But I looked the name up on Mushroom Expert, and he had the name on there too. So it usually takes him a little while to get his names up to date there. So this must have been around for a little while.
Yeah, they taught this name to us like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and
there we go.
And then I gave it to Bethany.
Oh, and she gave it
to other people.
And she gave it to me.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
To see how it gets passed around.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, see, if I had been here 2 weeks ago, I would have been up on it and I would have gave it to her.
Yep.
All right. So that's my 5. So thanks for letting me share. So the next person would be Virginia. Hi, Virginia.
Hi. Okay. This is a moist chamber culture on rabbit dung. So this fruited out on the paper, the paper towel that I had in the container. They're not quite as red as that. I think my camera, when I do close up, makes things a little redder than they really are. But I'm pretty sure what that is. And then I have, the next picture should be spores, I think. Yeah, spores, yellow spores. So it's nothing exciting. I mean, I've had this before. It's Parachina quadrata. They're a little more puffy than Parachina depressa is more common. That are more, and the fruit bodies are flatter and maybe a little. I think these might be a little darker in color. I don't know which one's really darker in color. Darkish brown actually when you see them. So that's about that. It's nothing exciting.
They're all exciting, Virginia.
Oh,
So these are slime molds for anybody
that's our slime mold.
anybody who's new to this. These are slime molds, so not technically a mushroom, but
No, they're not. They're not fungi. They're not at all fungi. Nope.
Are the thread-like things the fungi or the texture of the paper?
That's the texture of the paper.
Okay.
I think. I mean, it could be fungi growing on there too, but it's probably the paper. Okay, this was my mystery from last week that I could not figure out what species it was. So I sent a description and a couple of photos to Steve Stevenson, and he said he wasn't home, but he suggested it might be Comatrica reticulospora. So I tried to do a little more research on it, and on this website called mixomycetes.net from Norway, there are a lot of beautiful photographs. And if you go a couple photos ahead on this, not this one, not that one, that one maybe, where it shows the top of the stalk it's a little sickening right there. So I saw this species on that website, and it showed, they had a picture of the stalk with that thickening on it. So I figured, well, that clinched it along with the reticulate spores. And the reason I couldn't really find this out sooner was because the original description of this species by Bruce Ing never mentioned that description of the top of the columella, the stalk, and his drawings didn't show it in his book. So I got misled by that. But anyway, that website, I recommend anybody to look at that website and look at all of the beautiful, beautiful slime molds, mixomycete.net. So this is Comatrica reticulospora, and this was from West Virginia. And this species has been found in West Virginia, mostly by Steve Stevenson. Not too much in other parts of the U.S. It just shows the different. There's a good photo of the spores with the reticulations and the spines around the outside. And that's that was another one with a kind of a funny top to the stalk. So that's.
all right, great. Thanks, Virginia.
It's kind of exciting. You got something of a name on that.
Oh yeah, to get a name on it, because I couldn't figure it out before.
And you'll remember it too.
I hope I remember it. Yeah.
Or at least you'll remember that you have a name written down somewhere.
Right.
It goes for
I'm
me.
going to put that website in the chat, because I recommend people to look at that to see how beautiful they can be. That's it.
All right, cool. Thanks, Virginia. All right, two more.
Hi guys.
Hello.
So this mushroom I found in some wood mulch next to a parking plaza here in Roselle Park, New Jersey.
Roselle Park is Bergen County, if I remember, or Essex?
Union.
Oh, Union, all right,
Mhm.
for the city.
Mhm. Yep. So this yellow cap mushroom I found was kind of like coming up from under the wood mulch, the wood chips, and its cap was suspiciously split. Now I couldn't tell if it was split due to uneven drying of the cap, or maybe someone or something hit it. But in any case, it looked like it had recently come out of the ground, so I wanted to give it some more time to develop fully.
I'm not seeing a mushroom.
Oh, no.
No, I'm seeing a new little
No,
remove sent you item.
I think Luke needs to download the archive. It's 5 photographs in there.
Yeah, you know, in the future, Timur, can you just send them to me as just regular attachments?
Yeah, my email is already full. It's not able to support more attachments.
Are you able to see that?
What is it?
nope.
No, not yet.
Are you able to share from your screen, Timur?
No.
These are all set in as like compressed zip drive, you know, zip files.
That's
Just-
exactly what they are, yeah. What if you press the download button there and download the zip archive? Oh, something's happening.
Yeah, I'm doing it again. I mean, I already did download it and decompressed it once. I'll try it again.
All right. Last time I was presenting, I also sent you the same type of a link, and you were able to open those photographs.
All right. Okay, are you guys seeing that?
No,
You want
No.
to try resharing, Luke? Try resharing.
we're just seeing your browser.
Sorry. I don't like that, huh?
Oh, here it is.
Got it.
All right. So yeah, I decided to give this mushroom a little more time to develop, to come out of the ground more. Before I would pluck it out and take a closer look at it. But then when I came back a week later, it was missing. So something or someone had gotten it before me. At this point, I only have these 5 close-ups of the mushroom. I don't think it's enough to go on to identify it. So I'd like to get your help. What do you guys think it might be? I almost want to say that it's an amanita,
Yeah, that's what I
It
would.
is.
some variety, but I'm not seeing an egg down in the ground.
No, it's too late for that. This is probably from section Validae. Maybe Flavaconium or something like that.
Not Flavaconia.
It's not Flavaconia, but it's something from that area. So
Yeah,
we need to see the base of this type, but I'm pretty sure that it has a bulb. And judging by the color of the cap and the texture of the vulva remnants on the cap, it's probably section Validae. And lack of striations on the cap edges also suggests that.
What could you say about the split cap?
Or you have to, it's just cracked because of the heat. You know, it expanded too fast and it just cracked, split open.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
Okay.
It grew faster than it could keep up.
You know what you could do? Next time you see something very young like this, dig it up very, very carefully and put it in some cup with some moisture. And if it's an amanita, it should open up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Can
good.
we see close-ups of these photos? Because I'm just seeing like these thumbnail pictures.
Oh, all right. That's the drawback of these things. I thought you guys were seeing big pictures, but
Just
that-
one.
We were.
Just
but
the
then
one
You went
was
back to
big.
thumbnails.
can you see that one?
No, it's still thumbnails.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to email you a link for iNaturalist. And then I think it would be best for you to post them on there and then email me a link to that, because there's a technical issue that I'm having here with all these file sharings.
Okay.
Okay. Seems to work best for us when we're sharing directly from like iNaturalist.
Mm-hmm.
This is a common problem that people have trying to share like that. How about that? Can we see that?
Oh,
Looks like it's loading, but nothing's coming up.
Can you drag one of those pictures onto your desktop and try to launch it from there?
I don't even know what that means.
Let's see.
I would recommend trying screen sharing after the image has been opened.
I agree with Noah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got too much going on here.
Could someone write down the Latin name for this mushroom in the chat?
Well, we're sure of the genus, but not entirely the species.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm gonna try one more time. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just having, because I'm hosting it too, and I'm having a hard time minimizing my screen to see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna email you a link to iNaturalist, and I think that would be the preference for having that, because I'm struggling with all the the compressed files that you're sending.
Do I need to register for iNaturalist?
Yeah, you just sign up. It's a free account. That's what I think. I think most of us, what we're sharing from is from iNaturalist. So like what I was sharing, all my photographs of my mushrooms are from there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Or alternatively, you could go to Mushroom Observer, which I prefer.
What's the
I think
difference?
it's simpler to use.
Oh. All right.
Okay, does anybody else have mushrooms that they would like to share tonight?
No one else does. I do.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lauren, you already said, is that Lauren that was speaking?
No, that's Bianca.
Oh, okay. Bianca, then I'm sorry, I getting sidetracked. Lauren did volunteer to go next, and then you. How's
Okay.
that sound?
Sounds good.
So Lauren, it's your turn. And you might be muted, Lauren, if you're speaking yet. I'm not hearing you.
Lauren, I think you've got two mushrooms here. Two types, I mean.
I'm not seeing anything at all, just black screen.
I'm seeing the photo.
Yeah, I see it.
I see it, yeah.
I see her photograph too. I just don't hear her.
The top one I would call Galliella rufa, or used to be Bulgaria rufa. And then up Coricenteron, Igor. You can't see it yet, right?
Lauren, I see that you're trying to talk. There's a yellow border around you, but I don't hear any sound coming out. Yeah, you are unmuted. I even see that you're unmuted, but for some reason I'm not getting sound from you.
I'm sorry, guys. I canceled the Zoom and I logged in again, and I'm seeing black screen. I'm not seeing any mushrooms. By the way, they changed the interface again, which I don't like at all.
Well, I do see Lauren's mushrooms.
Same.
She is sharing. We just can't hear her.
Hey, can you hear?
Oh, we hear Mike.
Yay, there you go.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
Awesome. Give me 1
Right,
second
it's not
here.
helpful at all.
So Igor, you might want to log off and relog back on.
I just did that. It just doesn't work. I don't see anything. It's just a black screen.
How did you log back on? Did you do it with a link or did you do it a different way?
I did it with a link, and it asked me to click on something which hasn't happened before. Again, they did something to Zoom. They changed the interface every time. And every time they do this, they say it's an improvement, actually it gets worse. Because I like this version less than any of the previous versions.
And this is really interesting bolete. Good.
Well,
Kind of a Chrysenteron type thing.
I guess I'm just gonna leave.
Red and cracked.
Okay. What's up, Mike?
Okay, you can hear me. Good. That's.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure you can hear me. Okay, I'm gonna let Lauren take back control then.
Igor, if you have a cell phone, you might want to try logging on from there.
He already left. Igor already left. Sorry about that.
All right, can you guys hear me or can you only hear Mike?
Nope,
I hear you now.
We're hearing you.
All right. How do I get rid of this screen here? Okay. Well, yeah, bummer that Igor's missing this, but I can always email it to him or something. Yeah, so boletes. I tasted it, wasn't bitter. They were small. They were within a couple of feet from one another. Hunterdon County. I'll go back. And they did stain, and I think it was like an olive spore print. Any takers?
Something that would have been grayer on the top would have been Boletus Chrysenteron, but I'm not up to date on names, but I don't know about being this red. The mushroom at the top of this picture, though, is something that I know. The Galliella rufa, or Bulgaria rufa, that kind of jello-y cup thing with a beige center.
Yeah. I am familiar with that.
Yeah. Well, that one's a fun one that I always like. My cat is hearing your dog barking, getting upset.
Oh.
She's sitting next to my computer.
Whose dog is that?
That's my dog. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I don't mind. I think it's funny.
And he's outside. I mean,
Aw.
that's coming in through a wall. I think this is Xericomelis chrysoteron.
Chrysenteron, yeah.
Chryseteron, right. Is that what you were saying, Sue?
Yeah, see, I learned it as Boletes chrysenteron, but now it's like 50 genera or something.
I'll
And
put
that's
that
why
in
we
there.
needed Igor to tell us which one it is, but. So I am close to chrysenteron. That pattern of how it's broken up on the top is very distinctive. And it will vary a lot in whether that's been exposed to the sun or not, or been out a couple of days, but that's really a good picture for showing that feature and the color.
Yeah, they were just beautiful in person, very eye-catching. All right, so there's that. Let's see. These were cool. These were unique because they were about 4 inches long and they were growing out of the leaf litter.
I like the dog nose.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's my alley.
Some kind of marasmius type thing again.
Mhm.
No,
I tried doing a spore print, but I didn't get anything. Marasmius?
Probably, or something that used to be
Okay.
called marasmius.
Okay.
But I remember Gary Linkoff saying one time that the marasmius mushrooms, that they tend to, their caps are really, or I mean, I'm sorry, the stalks are really springy. So if you bend them over, they tend to bounce right back.
Okay. So this was super cool. I'm very curious if you guys have found this before. There was just this one, it was on a stick, and iNaturalist is telling me it's Siptotrauma asperata, the golden scruffy colibia.
Do you have
It
any
was-
more pictures?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was really tiny, but really beautiful. And then
About
you can
3/4 of an inch to an inch.
it was probably more like half of an inch. I mean, it was really tiny.
I found something like this myself today.
Oh, cool. Just one?
No, there was about 3 or 4 of them, and they were about 3/4 of an inch, the biggest one. But you know, this distinctive feature, besides the color being so bright yellow, is that kind of scruffy looking stuff on the stem.
Yeah, yeah.
Your picture, you're seeing a little bit of tiny detail around the edge of the cap. And then on the underside, you see those very white gills.
Right.
And that next picture, I guess, was widely spaced gills.
What did my naturalist tell you it was?
Siptotrauma, Cyptotrama, asperata.
Yeah.
Yeah, cryptotrauma.
Do you know, are you familiar with that still?
Well, that would be where I would start. I've never really tried to delve into these, but that's the 2 genera, cryptotrauma or cystoderma. I never keep them straight.
Now, Susan, in iNaturalist, I don't know if this is a typo or what, but they don't have an R. So it doesn't say cryptotrauma, it says Siptotrauma. It's like missing, it's CYP.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm looking at my species right. You're right. CYP, Siptotrauma. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, it looks right. I'm looking at pictures of it online.
I think that the one I found was smaller than the ones that I saw pictures of online. So I don't know if it's just small or young or whatever, but
Well, just coming out.
yeah, it was just so cool.
It's not going to get any bigger than about, gosh, I'm trying to think, maybe 1 3/4 inches, maybe 2 inches. I don't think it even gets that big.
I know Mushroom Expert has pictures of them. Some of the ones on there are no more than 2 centimeters tall.
Mm.
So it looks like a little tiny mushroom. That's a neat one. I never saw it before.
Yeah, it was fun. And there was tons of yellow. I should have taken a picture of it, but it started to pull what, Mike? it started to pour while we were in the woods. So
Huh.
we were anxious to get out of there, but I should have taken a photo of the other end of the stick that this thing was on because, and I'm not sure if you call it mycelium or rhizomorphs. Like, I guess it was mycelium, right? It was like all yellow mycelium in the, like, you know, in the stick that this was on. It was cool. Anyway, that's all I have for this week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So Bianca, and then also Noah, did you mention that you had mushrooms that you wanted to share? I thought you mentioned that at the beginning of the session.
I do have some mushrooms I'd love to share.
Oh, okay.
Well, let him go first then, because I came later. Go ahead.
All right, I don't mind sharing. Give me 1 second to get set up here. Can everyone see this?
Not yet. I see a black
It's
screen.
coming. It's coming. Okay. Ooh, chicken
Chicken
mushroom.
of the woods.
Beautiful.
One that I can describe. Yay.
I know, I saw this and I was like, I actually know a mushroom. So I have a few fungi to show off. They were all found in Medford, New Jersey and Burlington County. And since I'm new to mycology, I'm not going to be able to identify most of the things I found. It'll be more of a show and tell. I hope that's all right. But if anyone wants to jump in and comment or identify, feel free to do so. But starting off here, I guess I was right on this one. I think this is Laetiporus sulphureus, the chicken of the woods. And I think this is also going to be my dinner tomorrow night. It was very large, this one. You could see underneath, we got no fins going on, no gills. And I realize now this is not a good size comparison because no one knows that I am wearing a size 10 shoe. But at the time, I was using this for myself just to show how large this is. It was quite a bit of mushrooms. And I was very happy to find it. I was surprised. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Noah, did you eat this before?
I have not eaten it, no.
Just one advice. Don't eat too much of it at the beginning because they say you should eat a little bit first.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard it's very common for people to be allergic to it.
Yeah, I don't know that, but if you're new to eating, don't eat too much to start with.
Okay, thank you for the advice.
That's what she's trying to say. People often are allergic to this one. I'll add too that you're close on the species. It's actually Laetiporus cincinnatus.
Okay.
Which I put the name in there. The way you can tell that is the mushroom that you refer to, sulphureus, that tends to grow in shelves up in the trees, whereas these guys grow in these rosette patterns, that round pattern, and they tend to grow like on the roots or at the very base of the tree. And then also the bottom of this would be white.
Yes, I was actually curious about that because I was surprised. This was right next to an oak tree. However, I noticed that it wasn't on the tree. And actually, after I removed this, I dug into the ground a little bit and I did see a root there because I wanted to make sure I positively identified it if I was going to eat it. But I didn't see any mycelium that was going down to the root. So I was a little bit wary about it. But I'm glad that you guys can help me form a positive identification on this.
Yeah, it was growing on that root, and you probably just couldn't see the mycelium because it's so thin, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
Have you cooked this or eaten this before?
I have not, no.
Okay, because the other thing, maybe Luke, you could talk about the tenderness of eating the outer bits of the fronds as it gets tougher, as it gets back toward the center.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. These guys, they're really good when they're fresh, but if they start getting tough, they're really inedible. So usually the growing edges, the outer edges of these fronds, the whiter parts, are the most tender. And as you're working it in, as you're cutting into it, when you start getting into the tough stuff, that stuff is usually inedible. So people just use that to make a stock or they just throw it back in the woods.
All right, that's very good to know. Yeah, as I was cutting this, because I already did cut it up, I noticed that all of you call them fronds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were very tender. So it seemed like it was in prime time to chop it up.
Yeah, nice find.
Noah, for future reference, also as far as I know, New Jersey only has one lookalike, and I found both. I almost ate the lookalike, which please do not do. It is the jack-o'-lantern mushroom, and if you find it, it has gills and it glows in the dark. So be aware that that's the lookalike that I know of.
Yes, I did research a little bit, and I did see jack-o'-lantern mushroom came up, and I confirmed that there are no gills below it. So thank you for that, though.
There's another
go ahead.
polypore that's kind of a beige all over, but it stays black. It looks more like the chicken mushroom than that, especially if the chicken is old.
I hadn't heard of that. But moving on, beyond chicken in the woods, I saw this, and I honestly have no idea what this is. I just thought it was a beautiful color. It does have fins underneath. I did not want to lift it up to get a photo because it was the only mushroom around. I didn't want to hurt it. So I did not get a picture underneath, unfortunately.
It'll be hard to identify without knowing a little bit more about it.
Without seeing the underside, it's really tough, but yeah, I'm not sure what I would call this.
Okay.
I'll just tell you, for pictures for identification, I know there's only one, so maybe it's a good idea to take 2 pictures. But if there is more than one of the mushroom, it's a good idea to have one turned upside down to see the spore-bearing surface, and then the one from the cap next to it in the same picture.
Okay.
Not always.
Oh, you could have moved the leaves to take a photo of the stem too.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You could try also putting a mirror underneath.
Some people do.
All right. In the future, I will try to do those in order to get some better methods for identification. As for this walk, I honestly didn't even intend to go foraging when I first set out, but I saw that chicken in the woods, and it kind of just made me walk through the woods and look for things. So in the future, yes, I will try to do better to get some good shots for identification.
Well, what you've taken is a good picture. It's just not complete enough for identification.
But I'm with you, Noah. I often find one single mushroom and I can't bring myself to pull it up. It's all by itself.
All right, this was another lone mushroom standing in the forest. Sorry for the picture quality on this. It's not perfect, but I just thought it was a beautiful mushroom. Like I said, I'm still learning a lot, so I'm not sure of the technical terms, but I see that this is where it broke off from the what's it called? I'm blanking on my terms, but
You're talking about the
veil?
The veil?
Yes.
The veil
Right
that
here.
protects the gills. Yeah.
It would have been attached to the edge of the gills before it opened out its umbrella. And then it just drops down as this kind of skirt tissue annulus. What's another name? Ring?
It's called the partial veil.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't
Partial veil, yes, that's what I was looking for. I'm not sure what kind of mushroom this is. Just another one I found on my hike.
Yeah, again, not seeing the bottom is tough to be absolutely sure, but it looks like it's some sort of amanita to me anyway. But that's a group that's really important to see what the bottom base, which may be an inch or 2 below the ground. So you have to sort of go all the way down into whatever the substrate is to see that.
Okay. Beyond this, what I think this is I think that this is a mutinous elegans or Phallus rubicundus, one of the stinkhorns that is broken off.
Yeah, it definitely was a stinkhorn.
It was a stinkhorn, but it looks like something got to it or it dried out. Just another fungus I saw on my walk that day.
Yeah. The insects have eaten it all away.
And the other 2 that I saw that day were these very small, very hard to photograph. I didn't have a macro lens on me or anything, growing out of the side of a log. And what I think might be a slime mold.
That's a slime mold, yes. Lycogala epidendrum.
Yeah, it's I was very surprised to see this. I love the way it forms in these little amorphous blobs on the side of the log, but it's just a joy to see it while I was walking. And that's all I really had to present today.
Yeah, it
Did you
starts out bright red, but if you looked at it later, it kind of would get brown. Wouldn't be as, this color very long.
If you poke it when it's pink like this, it'll shoot out like toothpaste.
When it first comes out of the wood. So actually, the plasmodium is growing inside the wood, between the fibers of the wood. But then when it gets ready to fruit, then it comes out to the surface and starts out like reddish, red orange, and then gradually turns brown.
Thank you for the extra information. I just want to say I love what I've seen so far. Many of the fungi that you've shown have been in forms that I didn't even know existed. And it's very interesting seeing the microscopy of some of the species, but that's all I had to present for today.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Noah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Bianca.
All righty. So, Luke, it's your favorite purple.
Yay!
Yay.
Chromelosporion. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You know what it is already? Great.
Yeah. Chromelosporiopsis or Chromelosporion coeruleum. It's an anamorph, an asexual stage. Oh, beautiful.
That's cool.
Do you mind typing that? I don't know if I'd be able to.
Yeah, Chromelosporiopsis coeruleum. Coeruleo is the type of blue. I mean, blue lavender purplish. Yeah.
Ah, ceruleum. Yeah, I gotcha. Ceruleum. So it was just so tiny, but I love this color. So I hear you, Luke.
Chromelosporiopsis coeruleum. Okay. May have some mistakes there.
No worries. All right, I'll copy that in a moment. This guy, gorgeous, also purpley hue. Is that similar to what you found, Luke, with that purple edge?
See.
Oh, yeah, I think probably it's the same thing. So on hardwood.
Here's the underside. Let me see if I have a bigger. Yeah, there you go. There's the outside view. There's so much of it on this tree.
Maple, looks like maple.
Yeah, probably the same species, definitely the same genus.
Yeah, and this is, it had the teeth. And then, did I have another one? No, that's it. So just those three.
Yeah. There's at least 3 species of trichaptum that grow in New Jersey. But it's definitely a trichaptum for sure.
Trichaptum, is that like a turkey tail type, or is that something else?
Different genus, but people often kind of mix them up together. I'll type the name in.
Okay, thank you.
It would be the first one that comes to mind to me is a false turkey tail.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
I see some of the false turkey tails, but I never saw them in this.
No false turkey tail for this one. The false turkey tail is for stereo, that is smooth.
Yeah, but there's several things that get called turkey tail or false turkey tail.
Yeah. People definitely call this false turkey tail too, and that always I always think that's wrong because I always think stereum is false turkey tail. But I've definitely heard people calling this false turkey tail too.
Okay. And then here was what I think is actually false turkey tail. So then there's this.
Okay, can you blow up the underside more so we can see the bottom?
Yeah, sure. Oh, it's a little for.
No, see that has pores.
Yeah, it's pores and they're a little bit oblong.
So that probably. Go ahead, Sue.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say it looks very fuzzy around the edge, so I have no idea what this is.
It probably is a Trametes.
Ocracea.
Yeah, there you go.
Could be. It's thicker. It's thicker than Trametes versicolor.
Although I gotta say, I've never been convinced I've ever actually seen Ocracia. Like 100% convinced that I truly had that species.
That's it.
But it's definitely, I would say that's definitely a Tramedes.
Okay. And Tramedes, you said not versicolor. That's the false turkey tail. What's the other one? Tramedes?
No, Tramedes versicolor is a turkey tail.
Oh, the true turkey tail. Okay.
Yeah. So Marisol suggested Tramedes ocracea, which is to me is virtually impossible to tell the difference. I just don't know it well enough to understand the difference, but they look so similar.
Marisol, how do you spell Ocracia?
I'll write it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I have this. It was an older mushroom. It was definitely eaten out by bugs. So here's, let me see if I can go back to this.
Or Ocracia.
This is the top, has this peachy color that had different variegations. And then, that's not it. It broke when I tried to pick it out, but it has this bulbous bottom. And it was very eaten out.
Looks amanita.
You think it's an amanita without
I
the?
saw the veil. I saw the veil.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just beaten. Yeah, look at the veil. Yep.
okay.
And white gills probably free.
Oh, here's the section view.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're attached, it looks like to me.
Yeah, that's a hard character to see, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, it looks a little Amanita rubescens like. Or in that complex, as Rod would call it. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. I could definitely be in that group.
And I have.
But definitely an Amanita. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. I was surprised because most of the amanitas I'm used to have the veil that's stuck on the top, almost like
Yeah, a lot of them don't.
Okay,
Yeah,
good to
a lot
know.
of them-
Thank
A lot
you.
of them don't, but they also, a lot of them, they'll wash away in the rain.
Oh, I
There's
see.
the warts on the top. That's what you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, a lot of times that'll wash away in the rain too.
Just remember, that's just part of the universal veil that covered it when it was growing.
Right.
You know, came out of the egg.
Right, I gotcha. I gotcha. All right. So an amanita and amanita, you were saying,
Yeah, I think Susan mentioned rubescens or Amera rubescens, so that could definitely be in that group.
sense. Just leave that there. And then I have this guy. They were very also quite eaten up. These two yellow bodies. And then underneath, of course, you could see all the bugs and the slugs.
The hygrophorus.
That's not as good of a picture as I expected. I apologize. Anything better? No, that's it. I'll do better with my photos.
No, it really does look like another Amanita, but it's complete enough to be sure of that.
Even with this guy, I guess you can't really tell underneath. That's fine. All right. I have to get better photos. All right, and that's it for me.
Nice of the slugs.
Yeah, there's several of them here. I'm taking their meal. They were upset.
Yeah, can't blame them.
Yeah.
It's really wet.
That's true. All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Bianca. Okay. So does anybody else have anything to share? I know Marisol said she had something else. And then is there anybody else here that has not shared yet that wants to share? All right, Marisol, round two.
Okay.
What do you
It's
got?
just one thing. It's just one thing. Let me fix this thing here, okay? And then make this bigger. Oh, if I can do it. Wait a minute. Oh, geez, how I do this? 1 second. I got it. Oh, geez. Okay, I natural list. And then observation. I'm working on it. I got it. All right. Okay, now I go back to Zoom. Go back to Zoom. How I go back to Zoom? Okay. Oh, un momento. Please bear with me. And now share screen. Yeah, and I got it. Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, how silly. I posted only one photo. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Okay. All right. Okay, so I went to a park on Sunday and they have these neat gardens. It's like a old part of the park. No. One section of the park has very mature trees, but in the area where people park, they made it all nice and neat with fountains and mulch around the trees, blah, 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 blah. So when I went walking around, I never saw so many what's the name? What's the name for this guy? I forgot. Licogala. Yeah. I never saw so many fruiting bodies. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them growing on dirt, on sand, on mulch, and on dead leaves. And it was 9 in the morning when I went to this park. And I saw this, I took so many photos, but I did the post in Facebook. I didn't put all the photos in iNaturalist. And it was incredible. Some were pink, some were orange, and some were starting to mature like gray and light brown. And I made this one bigger to show you. I didn't understand what was happening, but it's oozing. So yeah, still immature.
I'm surprised.
And when I did the post, Garrett Taylor, he jumped and he told me that that wasn't Licogala. Pardon, what's the name? Licogala epidendrum. It wasn't. It may not be, because now somebody's starting to study this, and it seems to be several species. So I only call it Licogala because you can say that now that it's epidendrum.
Licogala has other species besides epidendrum.
Yeah.
They're probably hard to tell apart. But I'm surprised you said it's growing on sand and everything else.
See, I was surprised they were growing on sand, on dirt, on mulch, and on leaves. It was incredible. The day before, it rained the whole day. Yeah. So they like the wet stuff. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sorry, I only have one photo. But it's good enough. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. If you can get, when it's brown, get some of the spores and look at them.
Can you get to the species, to the spores?
When it's brown, when it's.
See, I know when it's mature. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's mature, then you could collect it and look at it under a microscope and look.
Yeah, the next time I didn't collect. I just took a lot of photos because it was so beautiful. But yeah, thanks. All right, that's it. Stop share. Okay.
Great, thanks, Marcel. All right, we have a few minutes left. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share or discuss or anything of that nature?
I'll be at the foray this weekend.
Hey, all right. Where is the foray at this weekend?
Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Oh, what day is that on? Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Horseshoe Bend Road Park.
Yeah, I know that place. It's not far from me.
Oh, nice.
So that's sort of Pennsylvania, South Jersey, Camden County, maybe?
It's Hunterdon County, isn't it?
That's Hunterdon's north. That's not near you unless you move back to New Hope.
Well, that's only, I mean, when I say near me, is an hour. For the New Jersey foray sites, an hour is close to me. That's the closest foray sites are like an hour to me. So, no, well, good. I'm glad you brought that up, Marcel, because we actually should be mentioning the forays here. So this Saturday, Horseshoe Bend. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited.
And the forays are kind of open to everybody now? You're not limiting, or are they?
It's still on the website, on the new website, still says it's limited to the members?
I guess it sort of depends on the park, huh? Ask
No, we have, the 4As are limited to members because we have so many members. However, some of the 4As, we're having restricted, people have to sign up because of the lack of parking. Most of the ones that are coming up will be open. We have Green Turtle Pond and there's very little parking there. So people will have to register for that. So it's mainly the parking business.
Nina, is this one restricted?
No,
Horseshoe Bend is not.
no, Horseshoe Bend has plenty of parking.
Okay, what about the one after that?
That's restricted.
That's,
Kittatinny, no, excuse,
Is that White Lake?
No, it's Newton,
Kittatinny.
yeah, Kittatinny State Park.
State Park in Newton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shame.
So Nina, could you maybe remind us, where do we find information about the 4As? Because I see somebody saying they did not get an invitation for this weekend. I know they're not going out every weekend, but where do we find the information for the 4As currently?
Okay, I've only listed until the end of July. That was an email sent out earlier. It should be on our new website, probably.
Okay, so we should look in our emails from earlier this year for
Yeah.
the list of 4As, right?
Yeah,
Right.
to the end of July. I have not sent the one for August, September, October, November, and that's coming up. I will be sending that pretty soon. And there's only like a couple things that shift, I think, and coming up, Shift and Green Turtle Pond, I think are the only ones that have lack of parking. Everything else, I think, is going to be open to members.
So Nina, can I ask you a question? If
Wow.
the problem is limited parking, if people carpool, does it mean that the number of people that want to attend is unlimited?
Well, they have to be members.
Yeah, I'm talking about members.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many people can you fit in a car?
I don't know, 4. Thank you.
I had a quick question. Are the 4As open to people of all experience levels?
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
we mix people up. I mean, there's people who know a lot of stuff and people who this is the first time I've ever been there. So yeah, absolutely.
That's how you learn.
Excellent.
How you learn.
Thank you.
All right, anything else tonight, guys?
Answer your question,
Everyone?
no, it would be my first foray, so that's why I'm super excited.
Yeah, the 4As
Me
are
as well.
the 4As are definitely very welcoming to all experience levels.
Wish I could come. I'm too far away and I used to
No.
Hunterdon County. I don't even know where that site is, but I lived in Hunterdon County for.
It's in Kingwood.
Township, and I grew up on that road.
Is that towards Milford?
Frenchtown.
Outside of Frenchtown.
Oh, all right. Okay. I know about where you mean then.
Yeah, in fact, Kingwood East Park is next to where the farm I grew up on.
Oh, wow. So
And there's also a dog park there too.
This is a site that was targeted for development and the community bought it.
Well, with the
Essentially,
help of
with the help- with the help
New
of the
Jersey,
New Jersey Conservation Foundation, and they turned it into a town park. It's a
And-
beautiful spot.
The Penn East pipeline route right now, if that ever goes through, is going through that Kingwood East Park.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, if you have, there's a dog park there too. So I think Bianca, you said you had a dog. Your dog can probably have great fun meeting all the other dogs in the dog park.
It's true, I'll bring her, she's a cutie.
We don't park by the dog park though. We park way
No, it's
back.
the other end.
No,
It's the other
we
end,
go
yeah.
to the other end.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, There you go. So Bianca said May 21st, the email went out to all the members with the furries on it. So I guess we can search our emails for that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining tonight. And we had a really good night. And I will see everyone next Tuesday, right?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night. Make sure you guys, everyone gets those photographs on iNaturalist or Mushroom Observer.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yep. See everyone later.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.